Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So I want to do a little video here encapsulating kind of part one of my experience working with the PWCC monthly auction. So I participated a little bit in the baseball section. So the first day of closings, I bid on a couple of different lots, and then was the winner on a couple. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience dealing with it, talk about a couple of things related to the auction and the site itself, some thoughts I have, and some other things that I noted from taking a look at it. So let's open this up and we're going to take a look here at the site. So I'm starting off here at the top, and I'll get back to looking at some of the live ones in a moment because there's still a couple of other ones going on live. So we'll talk about that in a second. But you can see from the interface, I like the front part of it because it'll show whatever was most recently bid. It's a nice, attractive looking thing. And then when you get into it, I'll quickly talk about this, and then I'll talk about a few other aspects of it. So this is the stuff that's live right now. So initially I start off with 41,000 items. You can see that on the far right. And then right now there's about 29,000 that are still live. Basketball is closing off tonight. And as you scroll through, you can see that there's a little under 4 hours left as far as that's concerned. And this is one view you can have with these tiles. And you can also actually click here to select. And if you do, you actually get more of a, straight up and down, a little bit more information, extended bidding. So you can have it in this format. And the other piece that you need to be aware of is this little star here will allow you to pick favorites, and that'll allow you to access it from this favorites button here. These will be your bids, and then all items are here. And you can apply some additional filters on this end. So you can shrink it, bring it back, and then adjust your filters from here. Now, let me just close that up. There we go. And your filters are all here on the left. I'd like to see a few more just from a personal critique standpoint, but you do have live, high bidder, outbid one, so you can scroll through that. Current bids in terms of a range, card year, and then the schedule of the different days of closing. So you can see baseball, basketball, football, hockey, miscellaneous non-sport, Pokemon CCGs, and then the final round, which is anything that was late to be submitted to it. So that's kind of a catch-all for all the different categories. You can sort it by all those different categories as well. You can do wax separately, memorabilia, and then I appeal, which is the different stickers depending on usually graded cards that PWCC assesses. So a couple of things I want to bring up here. So since I went through all this stuff here on the screen, I'll come back to it in a second and show you. So I'm quickly scrolling down through. Now, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here to the section where it says how it works. It's not a full-on FAQ, but it does contain a few useful pieces of information. So the first thing you'd need to do is to register to bid, which is fairly straightforward. It's giving your address and information. And then for me, like it says here, a verified phone number and email. So you got to have an email that they can reach, and you got to have a verified phone number, which just means they'll send a message to you with a code, and you'll be able to confirm that you received it in order to confirm. It's the same thing that you would do for two-factor authentication. Basically, you'll receive a message to your phone to confirm that you received it. Punch in the appropriate code, and then the verified phone number is linked to it. Again, email as well. And this very basic vetting. Obviously, if you were going to bid on something like the Premier auction, or you were going to submit really large invoices going forward, probably there'd be some additional vetting, but the very basic level, which includes up to $10,000 of, credit card purchases for invoices, it's not too bad, and it's very straightforward in terms of your basic account registration. So nothing too bad crazy there. These are the different bid ranges and increments. So you've got to do a minimum of $1 increment, and all the items start at a minimum of $10. So 0% buyer's premium, which differs a little bit from a golden or those other ones. So the price you're getting is the price you're paying. So that part's fine. And then this is probably the piece that it requires a moment of explanation. It's the whole extended bidding thing. And that really comes down to this. So unlike an eBay or whatever, where you just run it, the clock runs down to the end. Once it hits all zeros, you're done. In this case, it can be the case if you're the only one who bids, because extended bidding will kick in if there is a bid, but only people that bid on the first section leading into that first deadline are able then to bid in the extended bidding section. So theoretically, even though I wasn't able to experience this myself, theoretically, if you're the only bidder and you reach extended bidding, it'll run that additional half an hour, but it's a formality because nobody else can bid. So you're not going to be bidding against yourself, and you can't expand it anymore. So you'd finish for whatever that price point is. Now, if there is bids during the extended bidding period, then it initiates an additional period. And I had an experience with that I'll share with you in a moment. So I'll scroll down here to the window, and these are the different windows. So you start off with a half an hour period at the beginning, and these are all in Pacific time. So add 3 hours for Eastern Standard Time where I am. So you start off from 7 to 7:30 or 10 to 10:30, and then you go 5-minute increments from there. So every bid inside of that window activates the following window, and so on and so forth. Now, what happens is this isn't for all the auctions. So each auction operates independently at this point. All these windows exist for all the different auctions potentially, but what happens is if your particular item gets no bids during this 30-minute period at 10:30 Eastern or 7:30 Pacific, it would end. It wouldn't go into these additional periods, but if it does continue and you get bidding back and forth in each period, you continue until you get to the very end here. So it's a little over an hour after it starts. So within an hour, one way or the other, it's going to go. And that differs from something like Golden, where I think it's 30-minute windows and it just keeps going and going and going potentially for quite a while. So this is a little bit of a quicker version of that to force you to kind of make a decision. So with that out of the way, let's go into an example here and I'll kind of show you. So I'll go back into the monthly auction. And what I'll do is I'll be able to show you, because I bid on 3 items. I won 2 of them and didn't win 1 of them. And I can give you a little bit of a differences between them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this My Bids feature here, and I'll be able to show you. Now there's an important thing I'll show you here. So you'll notice no results. And that's because the auction's already ended. Because if you look, by default, it's already set to live. It automatically reverts back to that no matter what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on closed, because that's going to include all of the ones that I did. So I've got all 3 of them. Now I'm going to click on this to go into that little tile view. So I bid on this 1996 gold finest refractor. By the way, if you'll notice, the listings are actually pretty standardized. So you've got the name and year and information there. That's good from the perspective of wanting to search. So if I just want to keep it simple and search for player name, usually I can find it pretty easily. You do have a little bit more standardization, which is a little bit easier than the hodgepodge of titles that you can usually get on eBay. So you're not going to get any, eBay 1 of 1 question mark. Not a lot of that going on. So they are pretty standardized, and they do include at least enough information most of the time in my experiences. Now you'll notice on the 2 that I won, you got the little bar there telling you won, and then you got the little checkout. Now in both cases, I already did that. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in the second video where I talk about my experiences with it, but I will touch on a couple of things. So what I'll do is I'll actually open this one here, and it's going to bring me to a point that I want to make. So quickly, there's not a lot going on as far as this is concerned, because as you notice, as the description here, there's not a lot. It really this is pretty much a generic blurb. So they didn't really put any effort into giving any description on it. What it does have, though, that's kind of nice, is that you can click on this and get a more quality scan. And if I double click on it, you can actually zoom in quite a bit. So it's pretty good from that perspective. A little sensitive with the mouse there, but that's pretty good. There we go. So you can see there, you can get a nice view of the corners and the edges and everything. So it is nice from that perspective, front and back. So you get the high res image. Now, an important thing distinction I want to make. What's interesting for me is this item was one that I was looking at for my PC. So this is from the National Convention. So if you went to the National 2018 and got those packs, you could have pulled one of these cards. I've actually had a couple of these that I've sold in the past with Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson, stuff like that. So this one I wanted to add to my collection. Now this is the Rainbow Spokes variant out of 49. Now, what I found interesting is that initially when I'm going in, since I'm getting this as a PC piece, I didn't really have too much of a sense of comps. I probably should have looked it up a little bit more, but I think I did okay. And I'll give you an example of the same card here. So this is Magnetic Fur. So it's just another parallel to it. And it's actually a more common parallel. This is the out of 99. So this is a completed auction from September where it went from 191. So this is the out of 49 and also a PSA 10. So PSA 10 to PSA 10, apples to apples, as much as you can get. And that one ended in September, and this one ended obviously just yesterday. And I was able to get that for $96. So I feel pretty good about it. I think I did okay. But this is going to bring up something that after I finish talking about the second auction, I will reference again when I'm talking about this. So just something to bear in mind, and I'll come back to it. So let me quickly go back over to the other auctions again. So I'll go back to listings. And it does reset everything. So I kind of have to click on all this stuff again. So what I'm going to do is, and you can see up here, it shows the most recent stuff that was bid on. Again, just to let you know, everything started off at $10 at the beginning. It was across the board, no matter what sport or item it was. So I got to click on close again. Okay, and now I'm going to open up the second item. And this one I actually did a little search on eBay for comps as well. So this is the Orange Shimmer. So this is the Bowman Prospect, so rookie year prospect card of Soto, the Orange Shimmer Refractor. This is out of 25. So this is number 1 of 25. So a pretty nice card, BGS 9, mint card. Now, I did a little research. I pulled up from Terapeak. So these are most recent sales of the Orange Shimmer. So you can see the first and the third are actually the same card. One sold in March and one sold recently here in this month. The first one sold for $455 in auction, and then the most recent was $635. It's a BGS 9.5, so a higher condition example. The more interesting comp right now is the one in the middle from June, and that is a $400 fixed price, and that was for the ungraded one. So the question is, at $280, did I get a good deal? It feels like I did. I'm pretty happy with it anyway. As a rookie year prospect card, numbered out of 25, it is probably one of the more limited rookie year pieces that I have in my Soto collection, so I'm quite pleased with it. I felt pretty good about it. But that leads into what I was talking about a little earlier that I alluded to. I believe for this first auction, since it's the first time they've done the monthly auction and they had 41,000 items, I believe that there was quite a bit of folks that missed the boat as far as checking it out because it was new and maybe they weren't sure about it or they weren't sure how to proceed or the whole extended bidding thing threw them off. I think a lot of folks didn't pay attention as much to the lower and mid-tier stuff as they did to the high-end stuff, because I felt like when I was searching through, a lot of the high-end stuff still did very well. And a lot of the mid to higher end stuff still did very well, but a lot of stuff that's kind of in the $100 to $500 range, I feel fell a little bit under the radar. Now, one thing that I will note is that this might not be the case for very much longer, because even Slabstocks had an email out today where they were talking about this a little bit and giving some examples of stuff they felt was quote unquote undervalued, and take that for what you will. I'll leave it at that. But the point is, other people may have picked up on this, and it may be the last time that some of these items are available. I did notice some, just looking at Sotos, I noticed that there were some that were going for, I felt like about eBay average, maybe some of them that were a little bit low, some of them that were right about on, in line, and then some that were just crazy. I saw a Prism, PSA 9, which again, PSA 9, and it's the base Prism rookie, and it sold for $21. Well, I feel like the raw card was going for more than that on eBay. In fact, it might be going for more than that right now. So that was an opportunity for somebody to pick it up really cheap, already graded and everything, if you just wanted a copy. So there might have been some opportunities in this last auction that might have been missed out. Although there is some more baseball, obviously, with the catch-all at the end, and we'll have to see if next month follows similar suit. I'm not sure about that yet, and we'll have to see. Now, one more thing I'll mention, just kind of conclude this piece, and I'll talk more about the process and how everything goes as far as receiving it, because I just ordered it to come in. I will say that as far as checking out, very simple, very easy. The invoicing process, I received my invoice. I was able to go in and quickly pay it. Had a couple different payment options. I had the option to vault it. I didn't utilize or capitalize on that. I decided to have it shipped out to me because I want the items in hand. But I may in the future, if I'm able to win something else in a future auction, I may try vaulting it just to see, the options and things available to me at that point. But the option is available there, and if you do that, then obviously you're not paying for shipping because it's just, moving into the vault. Now, that all said, I want to include one more little thing about the whole extended bidding thing, and I'll use the examples. I'll use one of the examples of the one that I won on here as kind of something to kind of bear in mind and keep an eye on. So when it came to this one here, as far as this is concerned, I won it for $96, which is fine. And I was the high bidder at the end of the regular time. So it went into the extended bidding section because there had been some other bidders as well, which is part of the way this program works. Now, there was a bid during extended bidding. But what happened was the bid, while it did increase the going price, I was still the high bidder after that. But what happened is the way the software is configured, because it was a bid, even though it wasn't a bid high enough to become the high bidder, it still extended it an additional 5 minutes. Now that's something that I think it's the way the software is done, but it's something that I would consider a glitch and something that I would look at, because to me it doesn't make much sense to keep extending the bidding if the bid during that time period doesn't make the other person the high bidder. It probably makes more sense if they become the high bidder, you put it into another 5 minutes of extended bidding and then give the other person a chance to respond. So that might make a little bit more sense. I don't know if that's something they've considered. It's just something to keep in mind. And one thing I did notice as well is that even after the period ends and it's going to be the final and then that's it, sometimes I did notice that maybe there was a bit of a browser refresh error where it would show the next 5 minute period for a couple of seconds. It would glitch and then it would show the little sold icon. So again, it's just a little glitch. It might just be a delay in the browser refresh as far as the software is concerned. But for the most part, I didn't have too much difficulty with trying to move around. Even on the last little bit of just kind of keeping an eye on the auctions themselves. The format and software is okay. It's not the greatest, but it's pretty decent. But I would say it's something to keep an eye on, and I would expect some improvements and iterations as they go forward. Now, one last thing I'm going to do, just to kind of show you and close off this video, is I'm actually going to click on one of these live examples, and I'll show you kind of what it looks like if you're going to place a bid, and you'll get kind of a sense. So right here, we'll use this Nate Robinson. Great. The current bid is $22. Great. I'm already logged in. So extended bidding starts in 3 hours and 43 minutes. So if I wanted to participate in this, no matter what, I would have to, at the bare minimum, place a bid. So I would have to place a bid. So I would just click on the bid now, and it would give me this little scroll. So you can't punch it in. You have to actually go through, and you can scroll quite a bit. You can see it goes up. $5 million for a Nate Robinson gold refractor. But anyway, so pretty straightforward. You click on it, and then it basically puts the bid in for you. It asks you if you're confirmed, and then you go from there. So no excuses about misclicking, because you have to misclick twice. You've got to actually click on it and then click on the confirmation, and then the bid goes through. And then if you're the high bidder, it would indicate as such, or if not, it would say you're outbid. But from a strategic standpoint, honestly, even if you wanted to win this, even if you're not the high bidder, just by placing a bid, you would be put into that extended bidding period in half an hour. So you could aggressively make a bid during that time period and try to take it down from there. It would be up to you, because at the end of the day, as soon as that second bid is made, you're going to go into that 30 minutes of extended bidding no matter what. So you just have to bear that in mind. As soon as there are multiple bidders, you're going to go there no matter what's going on. So that's it for now, for the most part. Just a couple of quick notes I'll make about the whole checkout process. I found it to be fairly easy. I'll elaborate more in the second video where I talk about the rest as far as receiving it and kind of my experiences with that. You did have a lot of payment options. You can pay with crypto if you want. So you can use some of your Bitcoin to good use at all-time highs. So you do have a couple of different options and things you can do. I found it to be fairly easy. I did receive my fair share of notifications and things to let me know what was going on. My experience so far has been pretty clean. Like I said, there's some things in the software that I would like to see updated and improved, but for a relatively new piece of software, it was fine. As I said, I got prices that I felt were pretty fair for items that I was looking for. What I'll be curious to see is if in the November auction, the same thing kind of happens if word starts to get around about that. So just some things to keep in mind and some things to keep an eye out for. Anyway, that's it for now. If you got any questions, feel free to put it in the comments section. I'll do my best to reply back to as many as I can. Otherwise, more videos coming up on the channel. Live stream on Friday as usual, 9 p.m. Eastern time, where we can talk about this. We can talk about Golden's big announcement about his platform, getting an update, and, Upper Deck retaining its license and extending it. So a couple different things we can probably chat about this week. Anyway, that's it for now. Thanks very much for watching as always, and we'll catch you in the next one.